What's going on, everybody? My name is Tony Mendoza, and you are in the heart of the Gulch. And today we got a special guest. Not only is he an amazing DJ, not only does he put on an amazing show every time you see him. Maybe you've seen him out on Broadway. Maybe you saw him out in Midtown. Or maybe you've seen him at a private event. The one and only Cisco Carter. What's up, my man?
Oh, man. Good to be here. Thank you.
Well, bro, first of all, I got to say, I am super excited to talk to you, bro, because there are so many people in Nashville that have their own story, have their own thing going. And every time I see a post about you, every time I've met people that talk so highly of you, I mean, it's always with a smile on your face, man. So I got to say, it's great. It's an honor to meet you, my man.
I think I've had a smile on my face since third grade. I got stuck. But yeah, no, it's such a pleasure to meet you, and I'm thankful to be here for real. I know I say it, but like I truly mean it too.
I appreciate it, man. Well, we got to add a little pause to that. Now, okay, let's talk about your transition to Nashville, Tennessee. So obviously we're in the heart of the Gulch. There's consistent construction. There's consistent things just always happening in the city. When you moved here, and first of all, how many times did you come and visit Nashville?
Oh man, I grew up in Knoxville, and we would always pass through Nashville on soccer tournaments and just traveling with the family and stuff. But I was just like, oh, it's cool. I like the Batman building. Every time we saw the Batman building. And then I went to college at Middle Tennessee, which is 45 minutes away from here. And every opportunity I had, pretty much from when I was 18, they'd be like, oh, we're going to Nashville to eat with our family. I'm like, can I come?
Yeah.
And then we got 21 and we're like, oh, let's go to Nashville every weekend. So we would have a like DD. Some of it's changed, and I'm glad our financial situation, now we'll just park for convenience or take Ubers
or have a job where you're able to park nearby, that's amazing too, when you have a job where you can park anywhere in Broadway.
Yeah, that's definitely, it's been a blessing, watching that transformation from college to where we're at now. And so Nashville's crazy. Like our skyline's completely different.
Did you see the new rendering of what it's going to look like?
Yeah. Oh. The red,
the blue,
purple, green, blue.
For the people that are watching right now, so just about a week ago, there was a rendering of what the Nashville skylight's going to look like in 2029 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it looks similar to, have you been to LA yet? You've been to LA a good amount of times? Yeah.
It's just spread.
It's spread out.
And what you think is a good view now will not be.
No. And then all the rents that are around here. So it looks like it's going to have a crazy, crazy expansion.
Yeah, everything that's been proposed in the works of proposal or just waiting to break ground.
Oh, well, you remember back in the good old days then. You remember back when you could park on like Second Ave, right?
Oh yeah, Second Ave was actually what was closed. Like you could either park there or walk there, but like Broadway you can drive across, and Second used to be closed when I would go there, and every bar that we went to was 18 and up, and now it's like good luck finding that.
Oh, well, I mean, Nashville is no longer like that anymore, just because you just have so many people traveling to Nashville. Now, let's go a little bit more to when you're in Knoxville. When you're in Knoxville, growing up in Knoxville, does that make you technically a UT fan?
I bleed orange.
Oh,
yeah.
God. University of Tennessee looks like they're going to be on and popping this year.
Yeah, football is definitely our thing. And I can honestly say over the last few years, we went back to being kind of a basketball school. And now we're getting centered back towards football and just being a sports-oriented football team, track team. Like every team, they're loading up and we're ready to go. SEC is one of the best conferences you can be.
Man.
I know it's different for you, but I truly feel like everyone's being competitive in all the natures. I'm not going to say we're the number one conference and everything, but right now we're just loading up. Like it's been,
especially your team. When we talk about University of Tennessee, you guys got a brand new quarterback that are coming in, and I know we're getting a little beyond track here. Whenever I can talk about football, guys, I'm going to talk about football just a little bit.
And that's what got me to college. One of my first offers was Tennessee, University of Tennessee. They came to a restaurant that my family works in and sat down and asked if I was there. And I walked on and was like, Coach Thompson, Coach Lane, like Kiffin. And they're all sitting down. And that's how I got my first offer, was actually at my job.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I like that. So talk to me about that transition, why you didn't choose University of Tennessee.
So I actually chose Tennessee.
Okay.
I switched over to Middle Tennessee because we did have coaching change. We went from Lane Kiffin to Derek Dooley. It was a big transition for my family, and then also the money coming in with scholarships. I'm a Tennessee guy. It's not too expensive with decent grades to go to school in Tennessee. Well, when you're trying to build a program and someone can pay a couple $1,000s a year versus someone getting another scholarship, they wanted to kind of take mine and give it to another player so we can build our team. Well, I'm trying to graduate with no debt. I'm trying to make a name for myself. So I just went and chose Middle Tennessee after that. And it was actually one of the best decisions. My coach kept every promise he said he would. And I mean, I'm very thankful, graduated here now.
Well, okay. So talk about being a true athlete. So being a true, now also another thing. So we never film the guys coming into our show, but you're like what, 6'5", 6'7"?
Yeah, 6'5".
And tall guy. I'm a Hispanic guy. So you saw the difference by just walking by that you were links above me, right? Now talk about being an athlete, a true athlete. So what were your sports when you went over there?
Yeah, it was actually wild. So I grew up playing soccer. And then 8th grade, I was kicking some field goals. My mom, she always was like, go with Ty Green's family. And so my family, we all played soccer. Ty Green, he was basketball and football. Ty was an athlete. This was the smallest guy on our team, biggest heart, and also the smartest on the field. And I was just kicking one day, and I kicked, and he was like, oh my God, you made a 50-yard field goal. I was like, dude, I'm on the 40. Like, what? And he was like, like, whole team came over there. The coach was like, where's your parents? And he was like, oh, they're with Ty. And so they actually, his dad and the coach took me home and convinced my mom that I wouldn't play another position, and I'll just kick, and I'll just have to show up at the games. That was the biggest lie.
I believe it.
Played tight end, played safety, kicked, punted. I honestly didn't really come off the field after like my freshman year, and so that was really cool being able to really, like, we once stayed at Webb. I switched schools, went to Bearden private to public. That was a cool transition just to see the different work ethics of like a private school versus a public school.
And the money.
Yeah. But I felt like I truly became more of myself once I went to the public school. I was always trying to like prove. And so simplifying as I got older, my coach was like, you got to pick something. Like, you got to
specialize. You got to specialize in something.
And he was like, someday you're going to have to say no. So then he was like, if you don't, someone else is going to make that decision for you. That was the best advice I've ever gotten. Still to this day. And so as my sports started dwindling down to one, football ended up being, I was still learning. I was way better at soccer than football, but it did get me to the next level. And it also, I felt like being a man, that was the sport that was like heavy on it.
Now let's talk about some real moves that you're making here in the city. So we got to talk about what is your favorite thing to do in the city when it comes down to your job. Do you enjoy being out and about from 7 in the morning to 3 o'clock in the morning? Because for the people that do not know, you're one of the best DJs in Nashville, in my opinion. Now, talk to me about how you got into DJing.
Quarantine Project.
Hey.
Yeah, Quarantine Project. So I work in music and events. It's a lot going on all the time, but the only
FOMO Ent, right?
Yeah, FOMO Entertainment.
Did that start first, or was DJing first?
FOMO Entertainment started first.
Okay, let's talk about FOMO then.
Yeah, so that started November 2019. We were coming off of Breakaway 2019. That was October. November, I got a text from one of our managers, and she was like, hey, can we just start our own thing doing, and not saying leaving the company, but we were like, start our own thing, being what badass.
Start a business, be an entrepreneur.
And the text seriously was the simplest text ever. And it was, can we start a badass company with badass people and give back? And I was like, heard, done, when do you want to start? And so I already had started another company, which now is our brother-sister company, and that's Affinity. Then we had Breakaway, and then I moved into FOMO Entertainment. Then we set up some really cool events for 2020, and we're like, let's give ourselves 3 months to get situated, go into New Year's, had a good little New Year's party. It wasn't anything crazy that year. And we're like, what's next? St. Patrick's Day. So we're like, all right, let's sell these tickets. We had DJs on the inside, had bands on the outside, sold 2,000 tickets for all the colleges. I'm sitting there DMing girls and guys and like getting their fraternities and like all of it.
I think I can see what's going to happen. I hope you guys were able to put it on.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that was the last hurrah, right? Because this is 2020, right?
It was not. So on Monday, NCAA, they're like, oh, we don't know what this quarantine is.
Yep.
COVID is. And then I was like, all right, please, I'll just keep going. And then Tuesday, they're like, we're going to have to cancel. And then I'm like, well, Tin Roof has an event. Are they going to do theirs? Is this company doing theirs? Is theirs going on? And I was like, oh, I don't want to sit here. On Friday, I was like, man, I can't do it. So I like messaged everyone. I was like, I don't even know what COVID means. COVID was cool though for us. Like we learned how to sleep. We learned, So we learned what rest was.
Because you can't be outside all day anymore.
Yeah, well, we could be outside. We were outside. That was all.
Oh, that's all you could do.
That's all we did. But we couldn't be out at night at all.
That's what I meant. Outside.
Yeah, so we were just like doing outdoor workouts, walking the dogs around the block, and then I would invite like a couple DJs over, and we were like, we're quarantined together. And I was like, y'all can use the state-of-the-art industry standard equipment, which was like $8,000 of equipment, if y'all just teach me. And so then we got pretty good at it. I actually didn't get pretty good at it. They were already good at it. They were good at using it. So then they got better at teaching. Then I was like, let's do a live stream. So we started making a studio. We started doing live streams. We started pushing these live streams. Then we started bringing in more DJs and more DJs. And then quarantine.
No way.
Yeah, quarantine really wasn't much of a quarantine. It was just me and all these DJs. And
you had a quarantine radio in a way.
Essentially, yeah. And I think we had 162 different artists record.
Are you kidding me? So with quarantine, you're able to really expand this entertainment group. And not only expanded, you started learning a skill while people were coming over using the equipment that who originally bought? You originally made the investment?
Oh, yeah. The equipment was actually given to me. Yeah, because my friend just had it in his closet. And he was like, man, you have events. I was like, I'll give you $200 a month to use it. Unless I use it for an event, then I'll give you like $400 for each event. And so I think I paid him a total of like $400 to keep it for almost a year.
That's crazy. So that basically, that little investment, you're able to create a whole little section for people to watch on live stream, because that was the move back in the day.
Yeah.
And I remember those because there was so many different people doing it. I didn't know you at the time, but I know exactly what you're talking about. And for the viewers out there, that what I'm talking about is in quarantine, you would go onto a streaming platform. Maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's Facebook, and people would have DJs just come in, play music. And this is where Versus came from. This idea of people are inside their home and they just want to play some music. So you took that same exact idea and you put in your own entertainment. That's pretty sick.
Yeah. And so creative director Christian McFall, for he and I can't thank him enough, but like he really took a lot of time to just show me, one, how to work the software, but two, really how to DJ. And then we'd be like, oh, we should start making money. So then we started charging a little bit. We actually got voted second best live stream, Nashville scene, beat the Opry, beat a lot of companies. It was pretty incredible to see the DJ community come together. And that was our quarantine. And so we started coming slowly out of it and doing events where we'd do DJ showcases and have people sitting down. And so slowly they started getting out of their chairs, slowly started being able to clear the table, slowly got into our groove as a normal society. And now here we are. So
I got a question for you. So the question is, do you consider yourself more of a DJ, or do you consider yourself more of an entrepreneur?
I definitely do. I consider myself an artist at this point.
Okay.
Spent a lot of time learning how to produce music and then also put it together and DJ as well. Overall, I think just my willingness to learn and being educated, I'm always going to be a serial entrepreneur. I look at ways how my money can make its money. I also look at the opportunity. Like, my job is to gift opportunity, and that's the coolest part about being an entrepreneur. I get people who come to me to live out their goals and dreams. And our goal and dream is to not only just make sure it's done, but do it correctly. So from start, like if we start and meet and we don't have your event, that's probably the only way we're going to fail. And that's the best part about like FOMO. Our fear of missing out on opportunity is it's our drive.
That's what FOMO is.
Yeah. And so people think it's just like, oh, party. And like, we don't even like using the word party because none of it to us is a party. Like we're working. We put on a birthday party.
It's an event.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a difference between parties, events, and obviously there's bigger gatherings, right? But what do you think about, I know since you're an athlete, that means you're competitive. Deep down inside of you, you are competitive, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now talk to me about when you had this quarantine kind of radio with all these DJs around, and now that you consider yourself an artist and a really good DJ as well. I mean, how do you deal with having so many different opportunities, so many different names out here in Nashville? So Nashville, for the people that are watching right now that are in Texas or elsewhere, Nashville's scene of DJing is, what's the word for it? Enormous. Yeah. There's so many different artists. There's so many different types of DJs. And how do you stay motivated to do better? And also, when you had all those people together in quarantine radio, did you feel like there was competition?
Oh yeah, 100%. And like, that was the cool part about quarantine. Everyone worked together, and then you come out of quarantine, everyone's fighting because it's their livelihood. They like haven't made money. So now they want money, or they want like respect in a certain way. And you got to think, like, I just went from watching all these guys and now I'm part of the guys, but I have like no competition at all. And I'm not saying like I need to compete with anyone. It's just more so I'm more that race horse with the blinders on. Like I could care less really what anyone else is doing. I just know that like, okay, DJing is this lane and I'm going to stick to it. Being an artist and learning how to produce, people are always going to talk. Like no matter what, like the more success you have, more people are going to watch, more numbers are more people who are going to be negative towards it. It's cool because also you got to think, I have 89 contracted DJs. I have over 200 contracted acoustic or band artists. So for me to compete with them doesn't make sense because they're helping me run my business. Like they're contractors. So for me, they're also friends before anything. I don't feel the need to like compete with them. If someone gets verified, happy as can be. Like they worked their butt off. And so they should get like rewarded. And then I'm sitting here listening to their new release and like I'll post it and be thankful for them. But like I'm just glad I get to watch the growth. So I don't really like look at that in a competing way. Even like with FOMO, we have similar companies that have the similar models. But now we're like all in collaboration because if something goes bad, like we understand the stress of it. So we're like, yeah, let me help you. You're
able to kind of navigate with more people. But talk to me about also having, sorry to cut you off there. But where did you first start playing? Or where did you start right after quarantine? When was the first location where you're like, okay, this is a good starting point. And then now you're playing in some of the most exclusive events in Nashville.
Yeah, that was the wildest part. So Dirty Little Secret, it's like pretty much our number one nightclub at that time. The entertainment director was like, hey, heard you started DJing. Do you want to DJ? And I was like, that's wild. Like I'd celebrate my birthday here. Like now I get to play because he has so much confidence in me and my company. And he's seen what we've been doing that he allowed me to. I get a call like 2 hours before I'm supposed to be there. He's like, hey, I never really asked, what kind of music do you play? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's wild. Like, so that was so wild to me that someone believed in me and trusted me. And like 2 hours before, he was like, oh, I should probably ask. But at the same time, like at that's
mass communication working out for you, bro. That is what I'm talking about. It's the relationships brings you in places indoors that you're never, people just trust you. So what was the music that you were playing back then?
Electronic, sprinkling hip hop, house music is probably
still the same then.
Still the same. Yeah. High energy all the way. Sing along when you can. But I like to introduce music to people too. And so it won't be like your first choice, but by the end of it, you won't even know that it wasn't.
Well, that's the beauty of it. I think that's the beauty of being a really good DJ. If you're able to kind of hide a different type of sound with a sound that everyone recognizes, and then you're able to blend it together where it's just like, okay, I'm dancing to this because I know the words to this song. I may not know the beat to this song, but I know that it just sounds good together.
Oh yeah, and I've been on the other side of it. I've been in the audience so long that I know who's coming. I look and I'm like, oh, I know that table, I know that table, I know that table. So I'm literally going from like reggaeton to hip hop and to twerk into like house into a little trap.
So your relationships are dictating your music that you're playing. You don't go in with, you're not going in just straight in with music that you want to play this week. You literally are looking at the crowd and trying to read different examples.
I will honestly say till this day, I'm the least prepared DJ you'll ever meet.
I don't know if that deserves an applause. I mean,
it's a hidden blessing, honestly. Like I probably should learn a little more of the computer and put like cue points and all that stuff, but I really don't. I don't really know if I need to. I like freestyling. I like the chaos. I like looking.
Have to get ready at every single song.
But also like I get excited when I find a song that I didn't know I even wanted. And I'll like be scrolling through and I see these playlists. I have playlists and they're pretty curated, but I'll be like scrolling through like, oh, I forgot this song exists. And I started smiling. There's so many pictures of me looking down at the DJ equipment and I'm laughing or smiling because like I still get that same feeling as like, oh, that's my favorite song. And, every like couple weeks I download a lot of music. Right now I'm making 4 songs releasing for the rest of this year. And so this is the first time I've really actually told anyone, but I've turned in everything. I'm ready to go. I have a couple music festivals left this year and a few more shows, but I'm just more excited because I've worked really hard on the songs. And I actually like...
That's sick. And these are all the songs that you produced, right?
Yeah.
You just had one on the radio, right? If I wasn't... which song was that on the radio?
It was my first release, this Night With You, and so it's finally catching on the radio and stuff. And so that was a fun one. It's that innocent love, like childhood.
I love the fact that you're starting to transition from... So when I was a DJ back in 6th grade doing quinceañeras, and I did one wedding, which is crazy. So whoever's watching this that made me do their wedding when I was in 8th grade, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. Now, the thing is, when I was DJing, it was CDs. And I am such a grumpy old man that I love playing music. I love finding the vibe, just like you, right? Where you're able to find the vibe and you listen to all different types of music. So you're able to really find the vibe.
It's amazing you said that you start on CDs. I started with a flash drive, and that's what I use. I don't use a computer when I'm out.
Good, because honestly, that's the way. That's what I mean as a grumpy old man. Because as my humongous turntable with all the special, because you had to buy a turntable with special effect buttons on there that only did that for that button. You couldn't change it. And then I spent a lot of money on this nice big Pioneer turntable, and I started doing that in high school. But in high school, I remember the transition into a smaller set to where it's just knobs. And then before you know it, people that are DJing have something this big, and all they're doing is blending music. You got to come up with it in your head first.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're a DJ with CDs, I had to look in a list of CDs to be like, oh, shoot, which playlist is it on?
It's like that Krusty Krab, like when it's spinning around, you know what I mean? That
Absolutely.
Meme, it's every time. And I'm like, oh, I have 13 seconds.
13 seconds.
I'm like,
it's coming.
I barely have time to make the 2 songs. I don't even know what I'm playing next. Come on. So it's cool because like you understand, but when I press play for the next song during that transition, I'm already thinking about the next song. And I'm like, how fast? And when I tell people and teach them to DJ, I'm like, how fast can you get to the next song? Because that gives you enough time to find your energy, dance, interact with the crowd, also think about the transition
and use. Changing the vibe. I think that's another thing that for people that are watching about being a DJ, it's changing the vibe. Because yes, you can put on a twerk song for 2 songs, but then you may not. I mean, people are going to get tired out there. I played music. I played line dances. First of all, this is one thing I get so annoyed about when I see DJing and no one's dancing. I'm like, yo, turn on a line dancing song. Put on the Cupid Shuffle. and you will get people out there. And then it's your job as a DJ to keep them there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they don't always do it. They need to start putting, some people put some butts on the floor and keep them there. And that's what I'm talking about by finding the vibe.
Yeah, that's I think the favorite thing I have with DJing is honestly just going on tour, because they're coming, I can play house music. It's created by me and my songs go in it really well. So like the hour, the 2 hour sets, those are my favorite. When I'm on Broadway, it's open format. It's fun and funny, but an hour and 2 hour of just compiling my favorite songs that people know what they're getting is by far the best thing I could ask for.
Oh, absolutely. Well, speaking about what people could ask for, we need to take a transition. We are blowing by this interview, which is amazing. So I appreciate Cisco Carter is in the building. Now we got to go to crowd noise, where we got some people that ask you some specific questions. So let's do it. We'll be right back with crowd noise.
Cisco, do you prefer to DJ clubs, private events, midtown bars, or Broadway bars? Let me know.
All right. So you want me to play that one back one more time?
No, I know what I prefer. I prefer playing touring at venues. So venues sell tickets usually, and I get to play or do direct support. But that's what I prefer. I get to create a full set on who I'm playing with, or if it's me doing the headline show, it's really my music. So other people are reaching out, making sure they can or can't.
So it's
play.
Bigger. So
it's a bigger deal to me. Yeah, it's more created and curated. Yeah.
Now talk to me about some of your favorite venues of the past. Like let's just say the summer of 2022. What's been a venue that you've enjoyed doing?
Yeah, Clubhouse in Lexington during their college was great. It was very busy. Like their energy was outrageous. They were throwing jewels on the stage and giving phones to take pictures. It was just fun. Played with Shaq, 1,800 people on top of Assembly Food Hall. That was really great. DJ
How was Shaq?
Diesel.
Did you get to interact with him?
No, so I've actually met Shaq like 4 or 5 times throughout my life, but this time I honestly just went out in the crowd and watched it with all my friends.
How was he?
He's incredible. He's fun. He's part of the bass community. So I had a really trap set, and so did he. But he's open format bass. It's really fun, honestly. Like you're bouncing and laughing.
Did you listen
time.
to? Did he listen to you? Did Shaq? Did you see Shaq listen to you while you were playing at the Assembly Food Hall?
So Shaq came in like right as I was getting done, but G and Nitty Gritty. So Nitty Gritty is someone I've looked up to for like 7-8 plus years on a real music like production level, and so that was more important to me on a music side, and especially having Chi. She's like on fire. He's actually coming back next month and playing. But I got off stage and that's who greeted me, and
that's
he was
sick.
Like eating his Chinese food. He's like, "Man, I'm sorry I had to stand up. I'm eating right now, but like I had to give you flowers," and like that's like a term in culture. It's just like praise and like good job. And he dapped me up and kept eating, and he was like, "I'm gonna reach out and see if like I can get you on some shows later on." And he did follow up. My schedule's not conducive to his right now, but like when he comes in, we're probably gonna grab food and stuff. So that to me was bigger than I could have asked for.
And not only that, you're also meeting these connections that you're looking up to, and I think that's more important too. And what did you think about the Food Assembly Hall?
Yeah, so I actually started the DJs period there. So I did a Friday night residency, kicking off their DJs like last year. And so I've been a part of Assembly Hall. I do a lot with like consulting for them and just like.
How are you getting into all these different things, man? How are you able to navigate so many different business ventures, from consulting to DJing to also having connections where you're putting DJs in situations?
There's so much more. We have concierge service. We have the batch bar, which is mobile bartending, host Airbnb service. We we do a lot, and influencer platform program, outsourced to some of the biggest like Titans, Breads, Tennessee Wines, a lot of different things. It's actually been really fun too. But I think just knowing that, okay, this is the lane you're supposed to be in. Mm-hmm. Well, like, we're running a race, but we're still in like warm-ups. Like we're able to go in lane 1 through 6. When you get tired, like, go to the outside lane and let the people run in the middle. Like, there's so many opportunities, but like when I'm tired of one, we just bounce to the next. And then when we're tired of that, we bounce to the next. So we get as far as possible in a sprint, and then we move over, and then we do something else that's exciting. I honestly don't think I'll do anything that wasn't opportunity and passion. Mm-hmm. We have a live, which is a health, fitness, and wellness festival. It launches next year in Nissan Stadium. We're partnering with the Titans. It's going to be one of like my favorite things I get to put on, because I do love working out, but also it's not just about the fitness. It's about the wellness aspect of like sleep, like something we talked about when we walked in, like the lack of sleep, but also how can we rejuvenate our bodies? How can we
It's a good thing though. Well, we were talking about lack of sleep, though. It's not because I was just a bum and I ate Cheetos.
No,
and
it's
I was
because you're working hard.
It's because you're working, and that's the beauty of it, and that's what I like about it. But hey, before I start asking more questions, because we're going to still ask questions with Cisco Carter, we got another 2 questions to ask. Here we go. Let's go.
Sir.
The craziest thing that's happened while you're DJing a set?
What is the craziest thing that has happened while I'm DJing a set? I mean...
that deserves an air horn.
I feel like TJs see a lot. I've definitely seen titties for sure.
I mean, that's not crazy though.
I had girls try to touch the DJ equipment. To me, that's insane because I know how expensive it is. Definitely
put drinks by it if you're downtown.
Yeah, trying to take a shot over it. I'm like, craziest thing I've seen. I mean,
give me a story. Give me a story.
No, I haven't.
Let's go. Craziest thing.
Virgin Voyages. Whew, that was a month and a week of my life. I went around the world. It was one of the coolest experiences I've had. I learned honestly more about music business than I ever thought I would. Also, like, why things are popping in music and the creation, and just amazing people, really smart. But also, it is a virgin voyage. It is 18 and up. Most of the people were 21. I actually didn't know our culture could be so open, and it was so fun and so cool.
This is a cruise, correct?
This is a cruise.
A month-long cruise.
Yeah, and
nothing good happens on cruise ships, bro. I mean, there's amazing things that happen on cruise ships, but the thing is, you got the same set of people every night, intermingling. Yeah. It is a scary sight when people go on cruise ships.
Yeah, so I just was like, we already knew the crowd we were getting on New Year's was crazy. Mm-hmm. And I was so like checked out, and I was just like, I'm just here to DJ. I'm here to have fun and explore. But then there's couples, then there's thruples, and then there's swingers, like 50 plus swingers on this cruise, and they all came together.
They love the cruises.
Yeah, and they like planned it, and I was like, that's wild. Second night in, it's New Year's. Third night in, I'm like, oh, New Year's, like, we got by, No. So everyone's like hungover, dead from New Year's, having a great time the next night, who did come out.
Swingers go hard on holidays.
Yeah, and
it's a weird thing.
I'm up there, and I'm like on a stage, probably like 2 to 3 feet high, and I just see like a probably 50 plus year old lady. She's Asian. Her and her daughter are swingers apparently, and she like whips out her tits as I'm like DJing. I was like, oh my!
No one touched it though, right? Or did they?
No. Well, there's more. So
let's
then
keep going.
We're on the stage, and a leg comes up, and she's not wearing anything, and she's literally like straddling the stage with 1 foot up, 1 foot on the ground, wearing heels. And I was like, oh no, my gosh, what am I? So I can't, like, it's one of those things you're like, what is going on? I can't look away. I don't know how to signal. I'm like, where are the security guards?
No, but see, that's the thing about cruises. Now you get it. It is just wild to see the interactions that they have with other people. People watching on a cruise and people watching in a resort like that.
Doesn't get better.
Oh, dude, it's hilarious.
Doesn't get better. And I was like, I think I was playing Bruno Mars. That was the worst part.
Oh, that's the worst.
It was like, a wedding song of Bruno Mars. It wasn't. I wasn't even going hard. Like it was just like, you know. And I had like another day on the cruise, and I saw that girl like 50 times.
That is the weirdest thing about cruises, is that when you see someone that first night and they go super hard that first night where it's like out of this world, you're like, yo, you know, I still got to see you, right? Yeah. Every day.
I was like, this is a 5-day cruise, baby.
Yeah, you're still going to be eating where I eat. You're going to be doing the things that I do. You're going to go to the events that I go to.
Yeah, I think that was the day I started bringing my water bottle everywhere I did.
Really, that late night DJ, the one that's like at the end of the night on like on a Friday or whatever. Oh my gosh, you can have some of the best times there.
Yeah, I actually think I've learned more during that 30-day cruise with the 3 other DJs that came than I probably have since I started DJing. Like the music selection, the versatility. Like I felt like Nashville has a lane, and I felt like I was a little different. Like I try to cater towards Miami, Atlanta style. And then now I have LA influence, Vegas influence, New York influence.
Vegas is another monster.
Well,
right
apparently that's like the way I can go. But seeing them be so versatile and then also willing to share, like we were a team, and that was the coolest part. And I really think I was with some of the best DJs in the world. They might not be the most well known, but they
are amazing at what they do.
They truly are some of the best crafted DJs.
All right, well, let's go on to our last question in crowd noise.
So Cisco, which Nashville DJ inspires and motivates you the most?
Which Nashville DJ inspires me and motivates me the most? This is actually like a little different, and this is like most people would probably not think of him as a Nashville DJ, but I would definitely say DJ Silver.
Okay.
Right now, in the last year and a half of us really becoming friends, like I think there's been opportunities where he could have just like let someone else tell me, but he reached out and was like on FaceTime, was, I wanted to tell you what's up. And so his cosign before he's ever been at a show was one of the biggest cosigns that changed my life and put me in like a little different category. And so I look up to him because he has paved a way for a lot of people, but also he's so humble. And he's, you know, you sit there and you talk with him about DJing, and he's like, yeah, it's this. Like, it's so like normal to him. But then you continue to talk, and he's like, man, I can't wait to like get home to my son. Like, and he's a man, like he treats his wife really well, and he's very proud of everything around him. And so like, you know why he's motivated to keep going, but he's also like, to me, just a good human. And so he's a great DJ. He took country DJing to another level. He probably plays 5 to 10% of a set with country edits or songs, but he's still Jason Aldean's DJ. He's still going to play all these shows. He's still doing it in his fashion and style, but he's doing it with grace. And so I think for me, like it's
the whole package, basically.
Yeah,
so DJ Silver's the whole package.
You know, sometimes like we get confused with our job being who we are, but I think who we are makes our jobs better. And so I'd say like him as a person. And then when it comes to Christian McFall, I definitely DJ a ton of different music than him, but he's the one who got me to DJ, but also believed in me more than anyone else. So like those two, and I look like into the next level. Like the reason I go to Crosspoint is because like there's people 10 years, 20 years, 30 years older than me, but also 10 years, 20 years younger than me. So I see kids, but I also see elders. And so that's like why I go to my church. But like in this industry, I still look at like how people got the way they are when they're older than me, but also my peer group and why they're pressing. Like I went to Christian's house last week, and he still taught me some things. And he gave me, I think he gave me like 300 plus songs. And he was like, this is what I play here, and this is here. You should use this with this set. And then was making me a visual package. And so like,
giving you the whole shebang.
And so I still like look up to him because he truly understands mixing. And like you watch him, and like I have a little flair. At first I was very like little bit, moving a little bit. And you watch Christian, he's bobbing. He's like twisting his hands. He's flicking. I'm like, did you even move? He's like, I'm keeping tempo. It's just like what I do.
He's keeping tempo by his own body.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
Yeah. And so like now I still look up to the guy who taught me how to DJ, and I would say him and Silver, and they're so different. They're so different. And like, do they DJ the same way? Not at all. Not at all. Completely different transitions. The way they use the board's different, but that's the coolest part.
That's a good story right there. Now, let's go on to what you're doing today and what you're planning on doing for the rest of the year. So we're in 2022, and what do you got planned going on for the fall, for the winter time? Do you got some good things coming up? What are some things that are coming up? First of all, I can't wait to see you do a set. I cannot wait to actually go and do your walk the line, is what we call it. We call it walk the line, and your day in the life. And I can't wait to see it. But also, tell me what's going on in your life. What is something you want to plan out, or what is something in the works for the rest of this year? So you had music.
With music, I actually am finishing up a song. I recorded my vocals for the first time ever with a friend named Sav or Alex. So we had some fun in the studio, and so I always say, I was like, it's kind of like my live life, and so it's, let's call it. And so that's what we're finishing. That'll be one of my next singles. But yeah, I have everything laid out. I have 4 tracks laid out, album artwork. Everything's completely done. Hopefully go on an EP the beginning of next year. So I'll have a release for every month starting September.
Okay. And then what about events? What about some more events? Where can the people see you that are visiting? Because this is going to be out in, oh my goodness, like in 2 weeks in August.
Yeah.
So tell me about where we can find you if you got any sets coming up in the city in the month of August, September-ish.
Yeah, so I get to play Festival Blended September 10th. September 9th, my next single comes out. So we're on like a 8 to 10 week release. Every 4 weeks after that will be set. I actually signed a couple deals and a manager and all this stuff this year. And so it'll be nice to see like the traction that comes out of all of it. I didn't really announce it, kind of more that like, let's work hard, but we don't need to flex until that time comes, So silent working on a lot of different things, Blended. And then I play at Layer Cake, which is one of our accounts. I play there quite a bit. It's so fun to me because we created with the company the mindset of every DJ and how they want to play. So now it's kind of created similar to the vibe that I want to play. So that's really where I'm at. I'll play there a couple Saturdays a month actually, and then took a step back from DJing, so I'll play a couple soccer games coming up.
That's awesome at the SC.
Yeah, at the SC, and then a few Titans events coming up, but really just special events right now, and trying to take a step back and towards my goals more so.
Is that a good niche? I mean, that's a niche that I'm realizing real quickly that you do a really good job on. Your niche, at least from a Nashville perspective, outside of bigger events and bigger showcases, is really these events that you've been focusing on. So obviously you have the one with the SC, which is amazing. You got one with the Titans that's going to be even more amazing. So do you enjoy those kind of a little bit more intimate? Well, I mean, the SC is not intimate, but when you think about, the situation, I mean, it's an event and it's very specialized.
Yeah, I think it goes back to like me growing up and wanting to be a soccer player. And so I walk in that stadium, and this is our first year in a stadium. It's one of our first years being an MLS.
Biggest stadium in the United States for soccer.
And it's amazing. I'm friends with a lot of the players. To me, I walk in and almost every time I'm almost in tears. Like, I'm just so thankful. And I remember the first time I was in college, I was like, freshman year, I already played like 3 football games. I was like, dang, like that's crazy. I've never even been to a professional game. This girl took me, I started crying, and I was like, like, why am I crying watching Tom Brady beat the Patriots? I loved it. And so like, it was just like crazy for me to be able to get this far and never be in these professional stadiums. And so now I don't take any of them for granted. Like, it's a lot of people's childhood dreams, and I'm getting to live them out. And
it's an amazing full circle moment right there.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick right there.
Yeah.
Well, then we also got to talk before we heading out here. I want to talk about, the More Than a City podcast that you're thinking about putting out. Or you're probably already working on it.
Oh, yeah. This has been something I wanted to do kind of since 2016. I got really deep into the podcast space, worked a desk job after I quit Verizon, and I would listen.
You have to listen
every
to do
day.
your work.
I'd listen to podcasts. And then I started actually writing a book from just listening on the podcast. And I will touch more about that book eventually, but I recorded a podcast like a week ago and touched on the book. But that's also a goal in the next 6 months is to get that finished. And so, I can give you the title and you can assume, but it's Monday through Thursday, friends. So it's what is your community and your peer friend group Monday through Thursday. And so it's more of a self-help and just continue to know that you're loved throughout the week. And so the weekend, you get the weekend warriors and they just want to do something, but who's really checking on you their week? And so that's one of my projects. But outside of that, the podcast is really just similar to what you're doing. Showcase our friends, showcase our community, showcase people who are bettering themselves and really putting on for Nashville. I think I've been very fortunate because of, like you said, the opportunities that come with people just understanding the value of where I want to go. I have not released a single episode, and I've had more companies reach out to host than I could have even imagined.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and so it's cool. It's fun. It's fun. High energy. We have some cool guests coming on, and we're about to start really putting the promotions out and stuff. And so 3 weeks we'll be releasing.
Man, you're going to start the same time as me.
That's good,
man.
though. That's good because we get to showcase you and all that you're doing, and vice versa.
Here's the beauty of having you on the pod, and this is what I've been. It's not a pod; it's a YouTube show, right? So the beauty of this is that I cannot wait to see how you inspire me. You've already inspired me from other aspects, right? And now you're going into a lane that I think everyone should go into the lane. If you have the ability and you have the items and the ideas to go into this space, do it. I'm not here for competition anyway. I think you're the exact same way I view things.
Oh yeah.
You keep things on a blinder and you just focus on your path, right? The people that we're interviewing, the people that like yourself, right? It's all just about getting that opportunity of speaking to those people. But at the same time, there's still those people are always going to reach out to them. It's how you make something a little bit different. What's your niche? What's your edge? Right. And the reason why I'm up late at night is obviously I'm getting that little edge for the show. And I'm excited to see where you take it. I think you obviously have an amazing friend group, amazing people to reach out to. And then what's amazing to me is I'm always freaked out that how I'm able to get people like yourself and people like Megan Thomas, people like Daddy's Dogs that don't know me from nobody. But I love the fact that you guys are giving me the opportunity to interview you guys and see what you guys do in a daily life. And my goal with this whole show with Heart of the Gulch that we're doing is we want to make sure that when we have this conversation, we have a great conversation already, that now you guys can see what you do in a great way. So speaking of that, we're going to transition to the day in the life portion, the walk the line portion. So the way that we do this every time is you look straight into that camera right there. Well, I'm surprised we still have battery on that camera, but you look straight into that camera and you say, hey, I'm Cisco Carter and this is how I walk the line. And then we're going to transition to your day in the life. You ready to try it?
Let's try it.
All right, right after this applause.
I'm Cisco Carter, and this is how I walk the line.
Can I get a minute with you now? Before we go, I wanna pretend there's no words left outside our room where it's just me and you. Can nobody else beside us? It's me and you. Can nobody